Da, da,
Come on.
dun.
Dun, 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 orange and blue. Today, la, la, la. Mics are hot, counting down. Is this better than our regular music? The Rock? I still haven't got to Feeding the Ducks. The last music I played was Daydreaming.
Okay.
Okay.
We daydream a lot on this show.
We do. We're daydreamers, but that's how you get it done. Am I right, everybody? Yeah. Orange and blue today. It is Cecil Lammey. It is Andrew Mason. Howdy, partners.
Let's raise and rope Broncos. Howdy, y'all.
We are presented by Sean Honda.
And we have both kinds of music, country and Western.
Yes, and I do drive a truck, a Honda Ridgeline. Thank you, Sean Honda.
Yes.
So there you go.
I don't drive a truck. I'm sorry.
You don't drive a truck?
No.
No, and you've never worn a cowboy hat until today.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's me. What do you think?
I think you could pull it off. You've had a lot of versions of Andrew Mason, and the more I get to know you, Mace, the more I learn about these different iterations throughout your life. And I'm like,
I've had many lives in my life.
You didn't pull the cowboy off yet, though.
No.
You could totally do cowboy.
How is it that I've been here since 2002 and I really haven't pulled off the cowboy yet?
I know.
I don't have any cowboy boots and I don't have a cowboy hat.
Okay, well.
I don't have a Stetson. This isn't a Stetson. This is a
all hat, no cattle. Right?
Bullhide.
There you go. Rawhide.
Bullhide.
Hit them up. Roping and riding Broncos. Orange and blue today. It is presented by Sean Honda. How long are we going to wear the hats?
How long do you want to wear the hats?
I could do the whole show, but it's up to you, baby.
Are we
good?
I think I got to go back to my.
You got your ball cap?
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's more.
So is that Atlanta Braves ball cap?
Boston Braves.
Boston Braves.
They were in Boston and they were in Milwaukee and they were in Atlanta. Okay. I actually wore this in Boston watching the Braves play when they were playing the Red Sox a few years ago.
Did people know that's what hat it was?
Yes. Okay. I was very impressed.
All right.
People knew their history.
That is good. I will know how to upload the right. Sean put in the wrong one. That's fine. We're fine. We're totally fine. It is orange and blue today, and it's presented by Sean Honda. We're a little besides ourselves because we just started OTAs, and I'm not sure really what we can say, Mace. How about you? They looked good.
They had a practice.
They were out there.
Players ran around, did some football things.
Right.
Yeah.
That's about it. And that's it.
The muzzles have definitely been put on the muggles.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Yes, for sure. And I mean, I'm okay with that as long as they win. And honestly, none of the people out there watching care about our jobs being tougher, but we are going to get questions. I already got them on Twitter.
Yeah.
Because I tweeted out a little generic stuff and people are like, how'd this guy look? How'd this guy look? I can't tell you. I'm sorry.
I think maybe you can say a player looked good, but
okay,
that's probably it.
So let's start with
really get into details.
Let's start with Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams.
Well, we can talk about him because here's the thing. If Sean Payton talks about it after practice,
we can do it.
And we can talk about it if he addresses it. But then it's a limited press conference in terms of time. So there's only so much you can get in. I try to ask a few questions. Other people shout it over me. I mean, it's a zoo.
It's chaos.
It's absolute chaos.
It's madness.
So,
but Javonte was the first question. He is practicing. And again, I feel bad. I have to say this, Mace, so please bear with me.
But
the most I can tell you is he did more than I thought he would. He didn't do everything. I think these are all fair. If I'm being unfair, I'm going to get a phone call.
Limited.
He was limited
according
today.
To Sean Payton.
Okay, so he wasn't a full participant. So I guess we can say that. But he did more than I thought he would, dude.
The fact that he was out there doing what he did, I think, is an extremely promising sign, considering that we are not even 8 months after tearing multiple knee ligaments.
Right.
That is a very good sign that he has already reached that point. I mean, it's like we know, but we, can't
tell you.
Yes. Otherwise, we'll have our credentials revoked.
Yes, so we don't want that.
We presume.
We don't want that at all. Does this
somebody's going to test it at some point?
Somebody's getting. I think Sean Payton is itching to take someone's badge away. I just get that feeling. But does Javonte's presence in practice, limited, squelch your thoughts on them adding another running back? That's one of the first things I thought of based on our conversation yesterday.
Yes, I mean, if
it definitely does for me.
If he is at that point, then maybe you don't have to go to the well. Now, the interesting thing, and we're going to get into this later, is they do have room under the salary cap to add on the fringes, add some depth, maybe even, and certainly add to the running back room. If they wanted to add Dalvin Cook, presuming he is a Vikings cap casualty here in a little under a week, if they wanted to do that, they have the space to do it. But with where Javonte Williams is it necessary? And then it's just a question of, okay, how do you feel about Samaje Perine as an insurance policy? How do you feel about McLaughlin in terms of if he has to step in there and receive some extensive use? And the answers to those questions, I think, may well have as much to do with whether the Broncos add to the running back room as how Javonte's doing.
Yeah, how is Javonte doing? How does he respond to these practices? That's a fair question to ask, because
but remember, it's day 3.
It's day 3, so he's been working out.
So he's been out there.
He's been out there.
That's
he's
key.
Been responding. His body's been in recovery. Now it'll just continue over the next 3 weeks, and we will be out there one day each week. Mace will be out there by yourself on the last day, because I'll be in Vegas.
Then OTAs.
And then OTAs. So here we go with Javonte Williams practicing, and again, I feel very touchy even saying anything, but he was doing more than I thought in terms of looking bursty. I don't want to say that he had bursts, and I don't want to say what he was doing to make crisp cuts, but it wasn't like, okay, we get there, I'll set this story. We get there, they're doing a walkthrough. Javonte's in the walkthrough. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Javonte's in a walkthrough. Tony Pollard was in a walkthrough today. I'm talking about the Cowboys. Tony Pollard was in a walkthrough today for the Cowboys. You know what he did after that? Nothing. So when Javonte was limited after the walkthrough, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
One less thing.
Oh, my God.
I can't get in trouble if I quote Forrest Gump.
Are you sure?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I thought it was just, I think we can come back down to that. It was just good to see him out there. And and the Broncos have put pictures out there of him so you can see the brace that he's got on. Mm-hmm. And I imagine he's going to wear that brace probably all year. Usually coming off of the injury, you would expect that to be the case. But I thought, let's put it this way. I've seen running backs that came back from injuries that had a significant hitch in their gallop. And I didn't see that in Javonte Williams today.
Okay, that's fair. We can say that.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's a good sign. And I guess, Mace, is he just one of those guys that is a fast healer? We don't yet know, but we're kind of seeing things and like, oh, maybe he is one of those guys who can come back in 8 months like Adrian Peterson.
Fast healer, and then also just, we learn more about the human body as a culture, and scientists learn about that every single day, right? Mm-hmm. So rehab techniques have improved.
Yes.
Recovery techniques from knee injuries have improved. I mean, 40 years ago, if you had an ACL and you were running back, you were never the same, and that was it. Billy Sims, William Andrews, those were guys that were on Hall of Fame trajectories.
Right.
But if you're
Gale Sayers had a knee injury, right?
Yeah. People have heard of Gale Sayers because he's a Hall of Famer. Sims and Andrews look like they were headed to Canton based on their first few years.
Yeah.
And then they had ACLs, and I'd wager that not many of you out there who are below the age of 30 have heard of either of them, right?
Probably not.
And today, they'd recover from their injuries and they'd flourish and they'd go on. They'd continue what they were doing before. So, yeah. But that being said, Javonte did not have a clean ACL tear. There was another ligament involved with it. So that, again, is why it's a surprise, a pleasant surprise, but a surprise to see him doing what he is doing at this point.
Yeah, and a surprise to see him on a team that I anticipate, again, not talking about observations necessarily, Mace, but I they're going to run the hell out of the ball.
Full of notes. Here's the thing.
You have 8 pages of notes.
Cecil and I are still taking notes at the practice. I mean, I go my backpack over there. I should have had it as a prop and said,
instead of our hats,
it's all here. It's all here. And we can't say anything.
What if they had the Death Star battle plans and they couldn't say anything? Right? We got the plans. Guess we're just going to have to blow up.
they couldn't have had the
Yavin 4. It
The
was a
Yavin
move on
meeting.
Yavin, right?
what
It was one of the
it was
moons of
Yavin
Yavin.
4, yes.
Yavin 4.
So they couldn't have had but that was a private thing though. They weren't public. It was a private briefing
Okay.
before they attacked the Death Star, right?
Yes.
So I mean, I think
Grand Moff Tarkin should have had a harsher media policy. Anyway, like, okay,
wait a minute. I mean, it was a pretty harsh policy, though. I mean,
Empire wasn't nice.
Well, and also, I mean, the plans. They had the hard copy of the plans in the vault on Scarif, right?
Right.
And that was well fortified and well protected.
Very
Although
well
obviously
protected.
not enough because they were able to get a stolen cargo transport and get through the shield. But the thing is, they had a shield around the planet. And by the way, here's another thing. In Return of the Jedi, they basically do the same thing as they do in Rogue One. Stolen Imperial vehicle to get through. So the Empire must be really dumb if they get punked the same way with a shield around a planet twice.
2 times, fool.
Yes. And also the other thing, they keep trying to build Death Stars. What is it with the Empire and trying to build like Death Stars and then the successor of the Empire,
Star Killer Base.
See, at least in the Rise of Skywalker, the one thing that they finally got right, if they're going to do planet killers, they made them more mobile and smaller. They just said, we're going to put the planet killers in every Star Destroyer. Okay. Mm-hmm. They finally got it. But then everything was connected to the hard drive. And it was like, it was like in, it was like in
Phantom Menace, where you just attacked the one ship.
You attacked the one
Command
ship, and all of a sudden, all the droids go.
I'll try spinning. This should work.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyway, This is
what happens when we can't say what the 8 pages of notes are. I'm sorry. I don't want to get in trouble. I love my job.
Is it going to be, Coruscant and Endor today? I mean, what's going on here?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Twin suns today?
Twin suns.
Yeah. The twin suns are both orange, right? At least as they look in the sky from Tatooine.
Right.
There's the orange, and then you got the blue, the night sky over Tatooine. Yeah. There you go.
Orange and blue today.
Orange and blue today.
And all we need is a Champ Honda running around one of those sand speeders.
Maybe hey, Champ sand speeder, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Open at Anchorhead.
I'm sorry.
So this is, we're nerding out now.
We're nerding out because there's so much I want to say.
So many viewers right now.
I know. They're like, these guys are nerds. I'm out of here. Where's my Broncos talk? Well, hey, they were out at practice. And we'll get used to it, and Mace will work around it. And if Sean Payton talked about it, we can talk about it. But there's things I want to bring up about this team's going to run the ball.
Yes.
So it's good to see Javonte practicing, which Sean Payton talked about, because the team's going to run the ball. They're going to run it a lot. Samaje Perine, who was not asked, and I'm not talking about what he did today, but I would imagine Samaje Perine's probably going to get a lot of the work too. That's just a guess.
At least early on.
Yes.
Because
does it need to be early on, though? Why can't it be all season? If he's proven, again, we're not talking about what happened today, but if he's proven, why can't this be 50-50 the whole year?
Good question. It depends on the degree of explosiveness that Javonte Williams is able to recover once he gets back out there. Because if he gets even within a couple of ticks of being all the way back, then he has more explosion than Samaje Perine does. And that's going to lend itself to more work. With Perine, you know what you're getting, basically. The guy who could change the dynamic is down the depth chart, that we have talked about in McLaughlin.
Yes.
He's the player that, as we get into training camp, I mean, again, we're not going to say what we watch, but you saw it at the rookie practice. We both saw it today.
Mm-hmm.
The kid's got some burst.
It's a special kid.
Yes. Right, but and if you want to see more, watch the Youngstown State film.
Yes.
Yeah, it's there. It's all there.
It's all there. And the intent is there as a runner. Fantastic receiving ability. So we will continue on. Orange and Blue today, presented by Champ Honda. I'm so sad. Anyway, Slimmer Russ.
I like writing those long reports after OTAs.
I did.
I mean,
It's what I've done. This is my 20th year of covering the team. Like, it's what I've done for 20 years, and now I can't do it. So, yeah, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. I apologize.
Let me just go back here. I want to.
We could talk about last year's notes.
Well, that's what I think we should do. I think we should take a step into the Wayback Machine here.
Okay. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo, doodle-doo. It only works if both of us do it.
Okay, well, I was trying to find what I had from last year. So let's see. Broncos OTA report. It's much different with Russell Wilson around. I wrote this last year, first day of OTAs. And it makes me sad. But you want my lead?
What's your lead? Yeah.
Hang on here.
And how many words was it? I want to know how many words it was.
Right now, we're going to the cut and paste word count here.
Okay.
My lead was, this is the 21st consecutive year in which I've written voluminous packages of notes on NFL teams off-season and training camp practices. Well, training camp will be back, but off-season, no. By the way, 1,780 words. Wait, that can't be right. That seems like a little much.
No, it seems about right, especially if you throw in some quotes. Like, honestly, I'm going to be hard-pressed to get about 700 words tonight.
I'm just
maybe 1,000, maybe if I use some quotes, but I'm just like, man, alive.
Oh, this other count said 1,727. Okay, there you go. So 1,700 plus words I wrote on the first day of last year. And this year, I'm just going to write a little more about what Russell Wilson said and being lean and mean. Going to write a little bit about Mike McGlinchey, but write what Mike McGlinchey talked about with Sean Payton's OTAs and because there was something interesting that Zach Allen said today, and we can talk about what players said. And Zach Allen, mentioned like they're basically just starting to work with their position coach and working with Marcus Dixon. He's just getting to know him. I think he referred to the third day. So it kind of tells you it's been running and lifting primarily, and that's it until now. Yeah. Until they're actually going offense versus defense. And McGlinchey did a good job of, I thought, kind of explaining why he liked it. He's like, hey, we've kind of, we've all been through football before. We're pros at this point. It was good to kind of get back to kind of the old school approach and just focus on getting into shape. Yes. And so that's why. So that was why they did not have the 3 days of practice they could have had last month. Right. At voluntary veteran minicamp, which they could have, and they chose not to. Yes. It was all about running, lifting, getting in shape. And I'll tell you, if you're looking at Russell Wilson, he looked like he was in shape. That's a segue. Professional right there. Andrew Mason, Orange Blue Today, presented by Sean Pond. A slimmer Russ. I thought it was kind of rude that Kliss asked him exactly how much weight he'd lost, but whatever. Kliss, baby, Russ, love you. Yeah. He's as blunt as a spoon. That's okay. Yeah. Russ didn't tell him. He didn't tell him, but you could tell. He said he wasn't keeping track. Yeah. But one thing I want to build off of with Russ said, a slimmer Russ, and it's not the best shape of his life stuff. He was talking about the bond, the chemistry. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, field days don't build chemistry. Okay. What builds chemistry is working, sweating, bleeding next to the man next to you, doing the same thing as you, trying to make this damn team, trying to play football at the highest level. That's where true bonding with players comes from. And it seems like through the workouts, like you're talking about, yes. And what Russell Wilson said today, and he said it so we can talk about it. And now I'm getting excited. The bonding of this team, they may seem closer. Because with Dan Dalrymple leading the workouts and focusing so heavily on that, remember, they could have been doing a lot of meetings the last several weeks. And in fact, last year, emphasis was on meetings as well as doing some work in the weight room. But this year, it was all running and lifting. That with Dan Dalrymple leading the workouts, they had a shared moment. They shared a moment. Yeah. And they've already started building those bonds that are going to get you through when things get tough. Because things are tough right now. And tough times create strong men. And I won't continue that saying because strong men create weak times and weak times create strong men, whatever. But like, you're just saying it, you're just cutting it off. I cut it off. Your own convenience there's one spot I forgot. But anyway, like these times are tough. They're working out. They're lifting weights. They're sweating. They're practicing football. They're doing football things. And that's where the bond comes from because you see the person next to you working their ass off,
doing what you're doing, and that's where the bond starts. It's not from playing egg toss.
Yeah. Or a 3-point shooting contest, or
right, or any sort of cam. What did they have? Oh God, it was the Bud Light cam, right? After practice.
Yeah.
Did they ain't doing that anymore?
Did they do potato sack races last year?
I think so.
The year before, because that wasn't just a Hackett thing. That was a Vic thing.
Right.
Field day was a Vic thing.
Right.
Yeah. I do wonder if they're going to call off the last day of minicamp this year. I don't know.
I would guess no.
I'd say probably not.
That would be a no for me.
Yeah.
So Slimmer Russ, you see the dedication, and obviously he's going to say all the right stuff. It's Russell Wilson. If Russell Wilson fails, it's not due to lack of effort. The dude is going to work his tail off.
Yes. And in fact, I believe it was Zach Allen who today, when he met the media, by the way, that's another thing with the free agents not doing press conferences. Back in March, when they signed for Zach Allen and Mike McGlinchey, it's the first time they've met Denver area media. And Zach Allen referred to Russell Wilson as the hardest working player on the team. Okay. That's a pretty good sign coming from somebody who just got here 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Just signed his contract, new Bronco. His impression of Russell Wilson is that he's working his tail off.
I don't know if he would have said the same thing about Kyler Murray, but it's just a guess.
Interesting. The contrast, because everyone always, if you come to a new place, you're always viewing it in how it compares to your old place, right?
Yes.
It's human nature. We all do that because we're products of our experiences.
Yes.
So yeah, that is interesting. Was he, because he didn't compare the two. He just said that Russell Wilson was the hardest working guy in the building.
And that's great for your football team. When your quarterback's doing that and truly leading the way with his work ethic, you can get behind that. It doesn't matter if he's cheesy. Russell Wilson's cheesy. I'm not breaking any news there.
But it also says how serious he is about getting right after last year.
Yes. And if there's anything sweeter in this world, it's proving people wrong. Russell Wilson's heard everything. You talked about him, Seattle talking about him.
They gave away his number.
To Artie Burns,
the best,
who can't play.
The best player or the best quarterback.
Best quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, I think the best Seahawk ever is probably still Steve Largent.
I was going to say Cortez Kennedy, but
there's a case for Tez, no doubt.
Yeah. Tez and Steve Largent.
Defensive player of the year on a 2-14 team, if I recall correctly.
That is correct.
Says a lot about Cortez Kennedy.
Yep.
All right. But maybe the most important player in Seahawk history. The best quarterback, clearly, in Seahawks history.
Sure.
9 Pro Bowls. And he's been gone for a year, and they're giving his number away, which comes on the heels of a year in which he was basically a pincushion for the entire league and the media, not just in Denver, but around the NFL.
Yes.
He has spent the last 12 months basically being placed on a dartboard and having everybody take their shots at him.
Right.
As I hit my mic for emphasis. And I think it's affected him, but I think he's chosen to channel it.
Yes. And stuff like that, just being around Russell Wilson and knowing his background, Mace, and you know him very well, like, it's only going to motivate him. So as good as Russell Wilson can be, that's what he's going to be this year. We're going to see the best version of Russell Wilson, whatever that's at. Maybe in his Seattle heyday, he was like a 9 out of 10. And maybe because of age and because of injuries piling up, maybe he can only be a 7 out of 10. But you know what he's going to be? He's going to be a 7.5 out of 10. I firmly believe, and we don't know where that level's at. I firmly believe we're going to see the best version of Russell Wilson, whatever's left. Yeah. Whatever's left. And then does he stay healthy? Because to see the best version of Russell Wilson, not talking about anything today, but he's going to have to run. He can't win from the pocket.
And then the question becomes, how long does he last if he's exposing himself to contact?
Yes.
And taking off and running.
Yes.
When he turns 35 later this year.
Yes.
When he already has a lot of hits that he's absorbed over the years as well. That's another thing to consider here. And it's why the progress of Jarrett Stidham will be watched with great interest.
I knew you were doing it. I knew you were going there.
But we can't really say much about Jarrett Stidham.
Because he wasn't asked about Jarrett Stidham.
Whoa.
Jarrett Stidham was there we can talk about who wasn't there, right? I mean, because Sean Payton was asked about, the Baron Brownings who weren't there.
Kareem
Jackson. He wasn't asked specifically, but he said, hey, anyone who's not here, I've contacted.
He's contacted them.
Yes.
And so everything, look, remember, it is voluntary, not mandatory, right? So
that's true.
That, of course, there are some rumblings that maybe that philosophy is something that led to Brandon McManus being cut. That's something that Mike Kliss asserted on Channel 9.
Yeah. Kliss is going to hate that he ever did that.
Yeah.
Because that's something that would get the team in trouble. They're denied all day. We just got rid of Brandon McManus for football purposes. Okay, no one's better than him. Now the kicker options should include, is it Riley? I don't know.
They don't include Riley Patterson.
It's not Riley Patterson.
And they don't include him anymore because Detroit traded for him. The Jaguars put out a farewell tweet for Riley Patterson after they signed Brandon McManus because, of course, Patterson hit the game-winning kick against the Chargers back in the wild card round, and then they traded him to Detroit. So Detroit made the presumptive move.
That's a good move by Detroit.
Smart move.
Really smart. Hey, you're saying goodbye? How about we give you a 7th rounder?
I would not be shocked if the Broncos had claimed Riley Patterson if he went on waivers later.
Why didn't they flip and trade for him then? You're getting outmaneuvered by the Lions? Like, listen, I've praised George Payton this offseason, and I'm just learning the Patterson news because I showed up and did the drive, and you were still at Centura Health Training Center. Did I get that right?
CHTC, yep. Although I think they want you to say Centura Health Training Center.
I was going to say, dude,
CHTC.
THC? Huh?
CHTC actually has a little bit more of a ring than UCHTC because you've taken the U off.
Or THC. But anyway, it's right there.
You might get
it's a layup.
Oh my
it's a layup. Centura Health Training Center. I'm not going to call it the nickname. Potty mouth. Not me.
Centura Health Training Center.
Centura Health Training Center. That's what it is. So I'm just learning the Patterson news. You're getting outmaneuvered by the Lions. Come on, George Payton. Come on. George has had such a good offseason.
Yeah.
You can't sit at that 5 spot and just think we're going to get a guy. That's actually really smart by Detroit. I'm like kind of ticked off that Detroit did that because that's a really smart football move.
I mean, personally, I think everybody would sleep better at night if they decide to go get Robbie Gould, who's still on the market. He's age 40, but he's still on the market. But when you hear Sean Payton today talk about the cap considerations, about how that, you think about what you must have and how they may add to the roster here in the coming weeks and months, then that's where you start thinking, okay, this is probably head toward a younger kicker. And that's why Riley Patterson was perfect. I even put a note in my piece on denversports.com, that $940,000 league minimum for his experience level. I mean, he wouldn't even been a top 51 guy at 900 and 940,000. And if you cut him, no dead money. Would have been perfect, right? But no. So we shall see. This is, you don't have to kick field goals on Sunday. You don't have anything that counts until September, so I'm not sitting here panicking. But I'll tell you what, if the Broncos get into the regular season and they lose the game because of a missed field goal or a missed PAT, you know what people are going to be saying. Even
Brandon McManus himself is probably going to be tweeting about it.
Oh, yes.
I don't think McManus was expecting this. I wasn't expecting it.
No,
I think
not at this time. The timing was what was really weird.
Yeah, the timing was, and even Adam Schefter, wasn't Schefter's tweet like, hey, surprising news, which followed McManus's own tweet about, hey, I've been told I'm not playing for the Broncos anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you're coming in expecting to take part in the first day of OTAs, and then they're like, oh, see ya. Goodbye. It was, yeah. I mean, I get the reasoning why, but the thing is, it's surprising when at this moment you don't have a concrete plan. Like, they had the tryouts yesterday and no one's there. Okay, fine. But boy, when the Jaguars, let go of Riley Patterson, I mean, probably should have picked up the phone and call. I mean, I do wonder if the Broncos were simply waiting for the waiver wire, but you probably should have just picked up the phone and called just in case. But we see this a lot more now. A team's going to announce that a player's going to be released, and then
they're not released.
They're not released. They end up being traded because you don't have to submit that paperwork until what? 2 p.m.
Yes.
So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah. So the Broncos still don't have a kicker, but again, they're not playing on Sunday. They're not playing the Sunday after that. So it's not like you have to have anybody. I mean, but today.
I'd feel a lot better, though, than Brett Meyer or Robbie Gold or any of the guys they brought in if you'd had Patterson in place. It just mentally, maybe it's placebo effect, Mace? Is that what I'm thinking of? Where it's just like, oh, I mean, it's like the guarantee on the box in Tommy Boy, right? Like, it'll help you sleep better at night. Like, I'd sleep better at night if Patterson was the kicker of the Broncos today instead of the Lions trading for him.
Yeah, makes the man feel good. Are you gonna give me the
I make auto parts. I do have Zelensky kind of hair.
Yeah.
So I'm trying with the Zelensky hair.
I make auto parts for the American working man because that's who I am. And that's
what I care about.
The truth is I sell car parts, auto parts, the American working man, because I'm a hell of a salesman.
And he doesn't know any better.
Yeah. I mean, one of Dan Aykroyd's better cameo roles, I thought.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Anything else? We got big shows for you tomorrow.
He's pretty nice. Yeah. He's trying to put you out of business, Tommy.
Oh, he's pretty nice. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Send over the bottle of bubbly. Tell him to ice down his marbles with the bucket of ice. It's yours truly, Z.
And he walks away with Bo Derek. By the way, I mean, you talk about if you're Rob Lowe's character, right? Like, not only do did you get exposed, but you lost your wife. Your wife walked off with Zelensky.
Right.
Right.
And you had to go to jail.
She's part of the planning. She's an accomplice, but nothing's going to happen to her. Rob Lowe's going to take the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something wrong with that.
There is.
She just walks away and gets the happy ending with, like gets the happy ending with another wealthy executive. I mean, if that turns out like the purported marriage to Big Tom Callahan.
Yeah, Big Tom Callahan.
That's the thing. She goes from Big Tom Callahan to Zelensky, all the while being married to Rob Lowe. What the hell's going on in Sandusky, Ohio, and Chicago, Illinois? Come on, man.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My apologies to the viewing audience. This is what we have.
We'll get used to it. We saw it. We can tell. We can't tell you anything.
We got a lot of shows to get through without saying very much.
I know, but at least we've got some video coming up for you on tomorrow's show. We have more stuff to go through from today, and we'll figure it out. It's just tough today.
Today was tough.
Today is tough.
1,700 words last year on the first practice.
What are you gonna get today? I'm gonna push for 700 words, but
you're writing. I'm just writing stuff off the press conferences.
Okay. I'm writing about vision and version. Anyway,
I wrote about in the first four paragraphs last year, I wrote that Draymond Jones got multiple sacks in the first OTA.
You could not do that this year.
No, I couldn't.
Just something as simple as that. Draymond Jones in last year's OTA had several sacks. Yes.
In the first OTA.
Can't do it this year.
I mean, I can't even say if there were sacks.
Or interceptions.
I think we said too much.
Patrick, I'm sorry.
We're not saying anything.
We're not saying anything.
Anyway.
All right. Orange and Blue today, presented by Sean Honda. He's Andrew Mason. You follow him on Twitter at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammey, saying until next time, be safe, be kind, know that you're appreciated. Sean Payton. Stay tuned. And as always, please, would you stay